You've definitely heard of Intuit. They're the company behind giants like QuickBooks and TurboTax, and they just wrapped up an absolutely stunning fiscal year. So, what's their secret? Well, it looks like a massive, long-term bet on AI is finally paying off in a huge way. Let's break down how they did it. So, the one headline number you really need to know? 16%. Yeah, that's their full-year revenue growth, hitting a whopping $18.8 billion. I mean, by any measure, that's just a phenomenal year. The real question, though, is how in the world did they pull that off? Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to look at the big picture of this really strong year. Then, we'll dive into their 3 key growth strategies, that all-in-one platform, their big push into the mid-market, and their absolutely booming consumer business. And finally, we'll check out what they're predicting for the year ahead. All right, let's start with that big picture, because it wasn't just revenue that was up. Their operating income jumped an incredible 36%. Now, this was no accident. This was the result of a very deliberate, very smart, long-term strategy. And, you don't have to take my word for it. You can hear it right from the CEO, Sasan Goodarzi. He points directly to years of investing in data and, here's the key, artificial intelligence. This AI-driven strategy, it's really the thread that's going to connect everything else we're about to talk about. So let's get into the first pillar of their strategy, which is all about creating a single all-in-one platform for businesses. They're basically positioning this as the ultimate cure for a problem that pretty much every business owner knows all too well: digital chaos. In this quote just hits the nail on the head. Business owners are drowning in a sea of apps. You've got your financial data over here, your customer data over there. It's all stuck in these different silos, and none of it can talk to each other. It's a mess. Now, what I love about this is how clearly it lays out the before and after. On the left, you've got the problem, all that wasted time, wasted money, and just a terrible return on your investment. And on the right, you've got Intuit's solution, one platform where all your data flows freely, workflows get automated, and AI delivers these amazing, done-for-you experiences. So what does this virtual team actually look like? Well, imagine having AI agents that automatically chase down unpaid invoices for you, or find clever ways to improve your cash flow. Intuit even built this business feed that just shows you all the work these agents are doing in the background. And the result? A massive reduction in manual work. We're talking up to 60%. That is a game changer. And here is the proof in the pudding. A recent study by Forrester found that businesses using the Intuit Enterprise Suite could see a return on their investment of nearly 300% over 3 years. That's a powerful number. It shows this platform isn't just a nice-to-have, it's a massive value driver. Okay, next up, let's talk about the second pillar of their growth strategy, and that's a huge push into the mid-market. We're talking about those businesses that are kind of in the sweet spot, bigger than a small mom and pop, but not quite a huge corporation. And Intuit sees this as a massive, untapped opportunity. Now, to really understand just how big this opportunity is, we need to quickly cover a bit of business jargon, TAM, or Total Addressable Market. All it really means is, what's the size of the entire pie that's out there to be captured? So what's the TAM for Intuit in this mid-market space? A staggering $89 billion. With a B. That is the prize they are chasing, and it explains exactly why this is such a critical focus for them right now. And here's their playbook for how they're doing it. They're zeroing in on businesses with revenues from $2.5 to $100 million, using their more powerful QuickBooks products, and the results are already looking great. Revenue from this group is up 40%. Plus, they're partnering with major accounting firms to basically get a warm introduction to thousands of new clients. Super smart. All right, let's shift gears to their third pillar, the consumer side of the business. Now, most of us know Intuit for do-it-yourself taxes with TurboTax, right? But the real story this year is actually in their assisted tax services and the powerhouse performance of Credit Karma. Okay, this slide is just wow. So TurboTax Live, that's where you get help from a real human expert, has a long-term growth expectation of a very, very healthy 15 to 20%. But this year, it grew an unbelievable 47%. They didn't just beat their goal, they absolutely shattered it. And it wasn't just the tax business. Credit Karma, which Intuit bought a few years back, also had a phenomenal year. Its revenue grew 32%, driven by things like personal loans, credit cards, and auto insurance. And this is where the strategy just gets so clever. See, Credit Karma isn't just its own thing, it's a growth engine for the entire company. By making the experience seamless with TurboTax, they actually added a full percentage point to their tax revenue growth. It is the perfect example of their one consumer platform strategy playing out. So, after a blockbuster year like that, the big question is, what's next? Can they do it again? Let's take a look at the company's official guidance for the upcoming fiscal year. Well, looking ahead, the company is projecting confidence all across the board. They expect total revenue to grow another 12 to 13%, and that's going to be led by an incredible 14 to 15% growth in the QuickBooks division, plus a really strong 8 to 9% from the consumer side. They're not planning on slowing down. You know, the key takeaway from this forecast isn't just the numbers themselves, it's the confidence behind them. Intuit's leadership is basically signaling to everyone that the momentum they're getting from their AI strategy, well, it's built to last and it's going to keep delivering impressive results. So this all brings us to one final, kind of big question. When you step back and look at their entire strategy, the platform, the AI agents, the push into bigger markets, you really have to wonder, is Intuit building more than just accounting software? Are we watching them build the future operating system for small business? It's a fascinating thought to end on. Thanks for tuning in.